Really glad you stopped by. And yesterday in my shorts, I put out a little video that shows the view from my side window and then the rear of the house. And people ask me, how did I get here? So I lived in New York City and in Los Angeles for most of my adult life, and then got a little nudge, I'd say a heave ho from the universe. I was living in Southern California and thought I'd stay until my son graduated from college, and he was only going into his freshman year when I got that urge. My neighbors had a 5G tower that went up on their curb, and my dog was acting really strangely at the same time every afternoon. Her tail would go between her legs, and she'd try to climb up on the furniture. It's almost like she was trying to climb out of her body. And it had never happened before, and it happened very consistently. And it was since that 5G tower was put up. And then there was news that the solar panels that they worked so hard to get me to lease back in 2000, I think 15, for my rooftop in LA. They told me that the incentives were going to be rolled back and it was going to be cost prohibitive for me to run these solar panels. I thought that is really odd. Like, what is going on? It's supposed to be all this green energy, right? And then there was a rumor that the governor of the state of California was going to double the capital gains cost. So if you sold a house, they were going to double the tax. With those things happening, I just started to feel in my gut. My heart was a little mixed, but in my gut, it felt like it was time to go. So I checked out the state of West Virginia because at the time they were paying people to move there if you had a job of your own that was remote. And so I went and checked it out, but it was beautiful, but it didn't feel right. And what I mean by not feel right, my heart didn't feel settled. I could see how it could be easy to live there because the cost of living was lower than what I was accustomed to. And I probably could have bought a house outright in West Virginia coming from California. But the energy felt off. And I never really was, I mean, I knew about energy, I knew about frequency, I knew about vibration, but I didn't really pay much mind to it, not nearly as much as I do now or as I was going through this process. So I knew West Virginia wasn't the right place, and I didn't get accepted into that program where they pay you to move. So that was a sign for me that I had made the right decision about West Virginia. And I was taking a course at the time, and there was a woman teaching the course who lived in Montana, and she kept urging the Montana thing. And Montana wasn't even on my bucket list. I mean, I didn't watch Yellowstone or any of those shows. And I just, yeah, I thought Montana, that's odd. Why would I move to Montana? It's cold there. But she kept urging. So I said, great, mid-January, I want to check it out because I thought there's no way, Montana in the middle of winter. Um, but in the plane, looking down, we flew over the Flathead, near where Glacier Park is, and it was like Brigadoon or Camelot. It was just so mystical and magical. And I wasn't very comfortable with where my friend was living. It honestly felt like living in the San Fernando Valley of Montana. Not that there's anything wrong with the valley, but I had lived that experience in LA and I didn't want to leave that weather to come live the same in Montana. And my friend had mentioned, well, you may want to go further north and check out this little town that's up in the northwest corner up there. And as soon as she said it, there was a little ping, inside my heart, this little ping that went, "Ah." And We weren't even halfway up the road to get here. The beauty was captivated. It was a snow-covered forest. The pine boughs were just drenched in snow, so heavy. It was like winter wonderland. And there was a beautiful lake that was frozen over, and there were ice fisher people out on the lake. And it just seemed so magical. So that was really how I made the decision that, yeah, this is the little town. Yeah, this is the place. It feels right. We pulled into the little town and I could sense the lack and the deprivation, but I could also sense the opportunity and the expansiveness. So I had found a broker, a local broker, and that too was on intuition. I just Googled the name of this town and up she came, and I looked at her picture and I paused and I felt like, yeah, she's the one. She's definitely the one. So we met with her that very first trip, and she showed us some properties, and I fell in love with one. It looked like Robert Redford's Sundance house. It was so perfect. It was like the big dream, and it was also had a big price tag. I made an offer and the buyer wanted six figures more. And I didn't let go of that dream because I really felt like that was supposed to be the house. Um, and I really had my heart set on it. The broker said, if you really want to live here, you need to go back to LA and put your house on the market and come by before the snow melts with cash in your hand because there's a very low inventory of houses. This was back in I'd say this was 2022. Yeah, 2022, the start of 2022. And so I followed her lead and I held back for 1 week before I put my house on the market because I checked it out with planetary alignment. And if I waited 7 days, it was a much better position. And I don't want to get all hooey on you, but like I'm using every tool possible. And boy, those planets were right. Within 7 days, we had an all cash buyer and we closed. And by March 20th, I was living in a cabin in the woods, about 35 miles away from where I live now, experiencing Montana for the first time. And it was a great transition. I was right on the Stillwater River. There were moose, there were fox, there were deer. Uh, it was amazing, but in a very small space while my home was finished. And this was not the home that I thought I would end up with. Um, I thought this home was like Mad Max on the prairie, and I couldn't understand why you would come all the way to Montana and live on the prairie. Why wouldn't you live in the forest? I am so grateful now that that other big house did not work out. It wasn't even on the look-see list when I came back in March to buy. And I saw this house that I live in now, and it was a construction project. And the broker promised these were the best views in the valley. They were world-class views. And each time I came, the views were totally socked in with dense fog, and it was dank and barren. And um, yeah, I didn't really understand the whole prairie thing, but ultimately it came that it was either this house or another house in another area of Montana. And I really wanted to be in this town. I really felt called to this town. And so things went very smoothly. I made an offer and things closed. And by May, we were out of the little cabin and living on the prairie with all that this brings. First of all, I live in what's called a little banana belt. So there's lots of sun here when there might not be sun elsewhere. And there could be snow on the ground 3 miles north or 2 miles south. And I won't have snow on the ground. I feel badly because this was sacred Indian ground. They used to gather here in the winters to make it through the winters because they were a little gentler. I mean, we do get temperatures that are below zero. Like I think the first year was 21 below, um, which is brutal and scary, but it's also gorgeous. And having lived in LA in the sunshine, I could always feel seasons in LA, but not like they are here. And I'm really enjoying it. It's really interesting. I find that the snow seasons are even more beautiful than summertime. And the land is sacred. And I'm grateful every day that I live here and I thank the earth. And we've taken our time to make a home here to just begin landscaping. And many outsiders don't make it that long here. Actually, the broker gave us 2 years. She thought we'd be out. It's very different to live in Montana. It's rugged, and you have to be a little bit self-equipped and able to work. There's lots of invasive weeds. 4 acres is a lot of property to take care of. And I'm also grateful because I can see 360 degrees around me. So if bear or wolves, I've seen wolves out or mountain lion or coyote come, you can see them. So you have a chance because we have a dog and 2 cats. But what's been most poignant for me and what I'm most grateful for is the space and the expansiveness. Because I lived in New York City in small, small spaces, tight, confined. And I had a cabin up in the Catskills. That was my saving grace. And LA is just a intensity of people. It's much more spread out, but there is an intensity. And I had a beautiful home ultimately when I left LA, but it was small in comparison, and there were a lot of, house upon house upon house like there are in metropolitan areas. So it's really amazing to see the sky and to see nothing but pure nature for miles. It also can be lonely. So I've really had to work hard at connecting because I'm a bit of an isolator. Just from my background, it's easier for me to be alone. Even in groups, I felt alone. And not everybody knew that, because usually I would go to an event late and leave very early. And I'd be exhausted when I got back. That's a sign you're an empath. I've been told I, I'm an introvert with extroverted tendencies, and I think that fits pretty well. Um, but nature has been healing. There are natural vortices, there are ley lines. The energy is really pure here. And I'm so grateful to be aware and in touch with it because I feel a lot of people just keep the negative agenda list going of what's not here. So they can't really appreciate what is here. And as the years have gone on, this is my fourth winter here. I've gotten even more appreciative of all that this land brings, and it has expanded my heart, which was shut down with glue and duct tape and barbed wire turned inward for decades. And it's been a process to unravel, a lifetime process. And I'm grateful to be doing that here because what they say is true. Nature is a natural healer. So, yeah, I hope you enjoy the share of the land and the photos I've offered throughout. And you too can transform, you can change, you can leave and make new roots. You can connect with this earth regardless of where you are and heal your heart and help others. So If you need a hand with that, I'm at susangold.us, and I look forward to the next time. Until then, take good care and know we are in this together.